you're on in-ears. How long have you been on in-ears?
Well, let's see, how long has it been? Probably about 7 or 8 years. Was when I first started using them.
How you're a guitar player. I'm really interested in this because I've helped a lot of. I've been on in-ears. This is my 20th year on in-ears, believe it or not. And it was a pain in the neck 20 years ago because we didn't have digital mixers and
sure,
it was like I had to do a whole thing. It's not even worth talking it through because it's irrelevant in today's world. But I've helped a lot of musicians. I'll play with people and they'll be like, "Oh, you use in-ears. What's that like?" I tell them it's so much better because it is once you get used to it. Mm-hmm. And I've helped people get over the hump, and I've tried to help some people who couldn't make it. And more often than not, the people that don't make it are guitar players. And I get it. You're used to hearing your amp from, 10 feet away in the room. It sounds very different when it's in your ears. There's also a timing thing, right? Because it's about 1 millisecond per foot in delay. And so you're used to hearing it 10 milliseconds delayed, and now it's not, So, I get it. As a guitar player, was it your desire to get on ears that got you there? Or what was that journey like for you? That transition like for you?
Well, I very much enjoyed and continue to enjoy the sound of my amp in a room.
Sure. Of course. That's what you grew up with.
Off all the sounds and finding just the right place to put the amp and stand in front of it, to the side a little bit, wherever it needs to be to get just the right amount of tone, that makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And for my career with Pink Talking Fish, I needed that. That was something that was really non-negotiable, was that level of comfort because of the things that I needed to do, the lines, the improvisation,
guitar heroics all night long.
For real, from beginning to end.
Yeah. I mean, you're playing. So for people who didn't listen 9 years ago to this interview, Pink Talking Fish is a tribute act that blends the music of Fish, the Talking Heads, and Pink Floyd. So here you are playing, David Gilmour guitar lines and Trey Anastasio guitar lines and probably singing a bunch. And then also all those weird Talking Heads things that have to fit just perfectly because otherwise that music falls apart too. So yeah, it's a lot.
Sure.
Please continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's quite all right. So, I would have carried on that way forever. Listening to the room, using a wedge, whatever it took, except that I was sustaining significant and painful hearing damage from that experience. And trying to get into in-ears in that environment was very, very challenging because I was going from a place where I was in my comfort zone. I knew that I could deliver and people were expecting me to provide them with this experience, and then adding any extra layer of added difficulty is there's no room for it.
Yeah. And going to in-ears does add, it's as strange as this will sound, maybe it won't sound strange at all. It adds, one layer of removal from you to the room, right? Because and if you're used to playing with earplugs in, maybe it's only half a layer of right, but it's very isolating, or it can be very isolating. It is different, is really what it is. It's just different. That's all.
So I had to do it though. The ringing in my ears after a run was becoming extreme. So I started with I went all the way right off the bat. I bought and this is going back to 2013, I think, maybe around there, maybe a little earlier than that.
Yeah.
I bought a pair of Ultimate ears, the UE 18 Pros. And
you really went all the way.
Oh yeah.
I've been on Ultimate ears for years. I've reviewed all kinds of things. I've never gone to the 18 Pro. I was very happy with the 11s.
I'm sure they're great.
Yeah.
Got them molded. And then they had the bass ports in them. And so I took them out because I thought that was going to help me.
The ambient ports,
the ambient ports. Right.
Yes.
Like it reduces bass response by like 10 or 12 dB.
It does, but it also lets the bleed in, a little bit of bleed in. Yeah.
That was my biggest problem, was trying to find that room sound that I was missing, because I couldn't get that feeling like I was not completely isolated from my band or from the audience or stuff. So I tried a lot of different things to make this work. I got my own set of condensers. I bought 4 condensers and spread them out across the stage and put them in all different places. I put them on my amp. I put them away from my amp. I put one in front of each member of the band. I was really trying to just work this room sound into my ears without having to, feel like I was going to go deaf.
So the story that I said I wasn't going to tell because it's not relevant in today's world included a ton of that 20 years ago. And I drove my bandmates insane with it because they hated me for it. It was an extra 20, 30 minutes of setup, like the whole, Yep.
So, that didn't work out, despite the fact that, I tried everything. So then I moved on to a pair of ASI headphones, there were only 2 drivers, but they had ambient condenser mics built right into the bud. Yeah. Right. So instead of being married to your ambient sound being wherever the mic is, it's right where your head is. So if you need to be like, hey, what'd you say? It works because you can move things, so that was cool. For a while.
ASI audio is part of Sensophonics, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, because Michael Santucci at Sensophonics was the first to do custom fit earphones with that idea of, and I think it was Steve Tyler who was like their first artist that like, did those. Yeah. And they were super expensive, obviously, and you blend in how much of the ambience you want versus the signal from the feed that you're getting or whatever. Yep. So, but the ASIs were the universal fit version of that. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay,
right.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. I just wanted to kind of paint that picture for folks. Yeah.
Sure. And it comes with a rechargeable battery pack that also connects to your phone, which has like an 8-band EQ on it and some compression and limiting, so you can tweak it a little bit and make it work, for you. Hey, look at that. That's pretty fancy. Yeah.
For anybody watching the video, I'll put the link in the show notes too, but I brought up the webpage.
That's the 3DME. That's what I got.
The 3DM. Okay. So $800. All right. There you go.
Yep.
Okay. How did you like that experience?
It was cooler. Listen, we're getting someplace, like I was starting to be more comfortable in that environment. And let's just get this out of the way right now is if you're going to be an in-ears player, you need to use them all the time. You can't go back and forth. You need to commit to it and do it all the time, even in the smallest environments, because once you get used to in-ears being a reference sound, like you're not going to get a fully produced CD quality live mix in your ears. It'll happen every once in a while.
Every now and then.
You need to understand that this is a tool for you to use.
Just like a monitor. How often are your monitor wedges perfect? Sometimes, but most of the time it's enough to make you comfortable so that you can do your job.
That's right.
And the same is true with the in-ears. Yep.
And you're protecting your hearing, right?
And
that's the thing.
And I will share one thing, and we say this often on the show, but in-ears by themselves are not hearing protection. In fact, you can make it worse because you have control over the volume knob. Mm-hmm. They can be protective of your hearing if you are responsible with them with that in mind. So I just say that because I want to. I don't want there to be anybody out there that thinks, "Oh, I'm using in-ears." Therefore, no, not therefore. Therefore, you have the opportunity. That's it. Yeah.
Yep, that's true. And depending on the style of in-ear you have, your mix is also going to change from night to night. It's not like you're going to be able to plug them in, and get the same exact mix every time. You're going to be a couple feet closer to the drummer at this gig, or you're going to be right on top of the bass cab. You don't need any of that. But the point is that you're supposed to keep some of the things out that allow the good things to come in.
That's it.